everyone. Welcome back to the Broncos Podcast Network and YouTube for the latest episode of Broncos Now. As always, I'm your host, Sydney Jones. And coming up on today's episode, the Broncos returned to practice today here at Centura Health Training Center. So we'll hear from head coach Sean Payton, quarterback Russell Wilson, and safety Justin Simmons as they look to turn the page ahead of Chicago. All that and more coming up. Broncos return to practice today here at Centura Health Training Center as they turn the page and look ahead to their Week 4 matchup in Chicago. Head coach Sean Payton detailed today what a win would mean for this team this weekend.
Well, for us, it would mean a lot, you know. Then I could answer the fun questions. We need a win, you know, and Chicago does too. They do too. So, And that's why I think, you know, we got to win these days, Wednesday, Thursday. We got to, you know, I thought today was a really, really good practice. We have to follow that up tomorrow, but a win would mean a lot for us right now.
Safety Justin Simmons added to that, talking about how both teams need a win this Sunday.
The way that I'm kind of approaching it's just like your backs are against the wall. You know, you're fighting, you're scratching, you're crawling, and I mean, like you said, both teams need one. So. You know, when you go into a game like this, like you're expecting their best. What do they do best, and how do they get to what they do best? And for us, like it's exactly the same thing. Like, you know, we got to go and do what we do best, and we got to execute and do that at a high level, and let the chips fall, you know, where they may in that regard. But yeah, this is I mean, they're all must wins every week. You know, you talk about the 1-0 mindset, but this is a really, really, really important one. For us to get in the win column.
Plus, quarterback Russell Wilson talked about what turning the page looks like for this team.
I've been playing this league long enough to know that you know, there's always ups and downs. You know, everybody wants the perfect story, but it doesn't make it as good of a story if it's not some challenges along the way. And so we're not running from the adversity. You know, we're looking forward to you know, having a great week of practice, going out there trying to play, you know, in a tough environment, and trying to get a win. And that's really what matters, and that's what we're focused on.
Plus, Sean Payton and Justin Simmons also talked about what they've seen from Bears quarterback Justin Fields.
You know, the reason he was taken as high as he was not only just the arm talent, but, you know, here was a guy that led his team to a lot of wins, and that's part of the job description. And right now, as a young quarterback, and he's not the only one, there's, you know, it's that transition into this league sometimes can take time.
Yeah, I see a super athletic quarterback. I mean, when things sometimes get dark or the pocket collapses, I mean, his ability to create and continue to make plays happen for them, you know, is really unbelievable watching it. Obviously, we got a few guys in the league that are able to do that and, you know, kind of elude the pocket and make plays happen, albeit with their feet or even their arms. And so he's definitely one of those guys. And I mean, they have talent all across the board. So, yeah, I know everyone wants to talk about how they're struggling, but they're a good offense, and he's a really good player. And we got our, you know, we have our hands heavy in this going up into Chicago because we're going to have to find ways to stop them from being explosive.
Plus, Sean Payton detailed what he's seen from this offense throughout the first 3 weeks, specifically wide receiver Courtland Sutton.
You know, he's a big target. He's got strong hands in traffic. And so when you're a quarterback and you're throwing to statures like that, your target zone is so much bigger. And so not only in red zone, but on third down, and he means a lot.
Russell Wilson added to that by talking about Marvin Mims Jr. and what he's added to this offense.
I don't think he has a ceiling. I think the best thing about him, though, is that he's always looking for growth. He's always learning. He gets to be around a guy like, you know, Courtland Sutton. He gets to be around a guy like Jerry Jeudy, see their creativity, how they go about. They're such great professionals, those two, and vets. And then you got a guy like, you know, Brandon Johnson, who's a second-year player. Dad was a Gold Glover. You know, just a lot of it runs in the blood. You know, just success. He's a guy that's got great work habits in Brandon Johnson. And so when you get to watch a guy like that right in front of you, that was just a rookie last year, and get to learn from him, you know, and I think Coach Carey's doing a great job of coaching those guys up. So I like our guys and like what we're doing and where we can go.
Now it's time to take a look at today's injury report. Outside linebacker Frank Clark, inside linebacker Josie Jewell, and defensive tackle Mike Purcell all did not participate at practice today. Plus, wide receiver Jerry Jeudy and safety Justin Simmons were both limited. Now joining me here inside the Broncos podcast studio to take a closer look at today's press conferences is fellow team reporter Phil Milani. Phil, thanks for joining the show.
It's Wednesday, so I'm here.
Per usual on Wednesdays. Well, Phil, we heard earlier in the show from head coach Sean Payton and Justin Simmons about, just how important it is for this team to get a win on Sunday. And, going to be a tough one with both teams searching for that first win.
Yeah, there are two teams in very similar positions here. I think that, Chicago, they were thinking, hey, if Justin Fields takes this step, we could be a pretty good team this year. And, you're looking at that division. Aaron Rodgers isn't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit and Minnesota pretty good, but maybe there was a chance to sneak in there.
Right.
So I think that Chicago is in a position where they're like, hey, if we want to make anything of the season, we got to do it now. And the Broncos certainly hearing from Sean Payton, Justin Simmons, Mike McGlinchey in the locker room, really talking about what a win would mean for this team. And, winning cures everything.
It really does.
And this is such a week-to-week league
for sure.
That, you just feel so good walking in here on Monday after a win, and you just sort of right the ship a little bit if you're able to do that. And, it also reaffirms the work that you're putting in. I think if you're out there working hard at practice, you got to have that translate to the games. And then if you get a win, you just feel better about everything. And so I think that's where this Broncos team is, Mike McGlinchey in particular was really talking very strongly about hey, we're only 3 weeks into the season here. It's a long season.
Right.
And he was it'd be crazy to just kind of just think everything was done. So
still 15 weeks left.
Exactly. So I think this team just, they got to focus on the little details, the attention to details. That's something that Sean Payton has really talked about a lot. And, if they can just clean, we heard Russell Wilson say this too, just be a little bit tighter and a little bit cleaner and just execute a little bit cleaner. It feels like this team, can go to Chicago and get a win.
Right. Well, Phil, you talked about Justin Fields earlier. I know head coach Sean Payton, Justin Simmons talked about the type of quarterback he is. And of course, they haven't seen, that type of progress on the field given the fact that they're 0-3. But, how do you feel about his skill set?
Yeah, you saw sparks of it last year where you're this guy's got a lot of talent. And, even Sean Payton talked about he's a winner, from Ohio State, he's a leader. They played in those big games in the college football playoff and he got hurt, but he was playing out there. And you just kind of think back to those moments and you're this Justin Fields, he's, he's got it, if you'd say, but translating to the NFL it's a hard deal. And for some guys, it takes longer. For some guys, they just arrive on the scene. You see that with C.J. Stroud down in Houston. He's having so much success through 3 weeks. So for all these guys, it's they're on different timetables. And but one thing's for sure is that when Justin gets out of the pocket and if he can start running and, setting the edge has been something that this Broncos team has talked about a lot.
Yeah.
If Justin Fields gets out on that edge and takes off, Russell Wilson was asked, hey, are there any similarities to your game? And he was like, Justin Fields way faster than I am. So when he gets out of the pocket, he can be really dangerous. So that's got to be a focus for this Broncos defense. And I think that, just moving forward for this team, if the defense can find some confidence out there, that could be really big for them and just say, look, we're going to be all right. I think that would be big facing Justin Fields and the Chicago offense.
Yeah, Phil, looking at the defense, as they look to make, a step forward here on Sunday, I know Justin Simmons, he talked about kind of how they can practice tackling, throughout the week and kind of make the next steps there. It was kind of interesting to hear him talk about because obviously you're not going to tackle your own teammates throughout the week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's certainly something this Broncos team, they got to get tighter and cleaner and better at, tackling and not having, one mistake lead to, a sprint to the end zone, essentially. So that's something that they've got to focus on. And, I think that one thing that was like repeated a lot on Wednesday was just like winning Wednesday and winning Thursday and like having a good week of practice. It sounds like coach speak and it sounds like, just a way to answer a question. But I think that it is true is that like you build these habits, and if you build winning habits, come game day, those are going to translate. You know what I mean? And that's part of like changing a culture, and that's part of like building a toughness and a disciplined mindset, and you hear from the leadership on the team and just like how they try to stay positive and focused moving forward. I think it really starts with Wednesday and Thursday's practices during the week. And if they can practice better, and if practices are really hard and difficult, come game day, things are going to be easier. So I think that's what this team is still working toward, is making it so that in the middle of the week, they're winning these days. And for the defense, that certainly means attention to detail, playing disciplined football, making tackles properly, avoiding penalties, all of these things that through the first 3 weeks have been a sort of a challenge. I think that moving forward for this defense, cleaning those things up, I think is going to be big.
Well, it was great to hear from Justin Simmons. I know we haven't heard from him in a while, coming back from injury there. And he said he's feeling good. He's going to try his best to play this Sunday. I know there's been a lot of injuries, specifically in the safety position. So what do you think it would mean, Phil, just to get him back?
Well, he's just, he's what kind of caliber of player he is. And particularly in that spot, I think that can make a big difference. Just having a guy like Justin, a Pro Bowler, all-pro type of player back there can make a huge difference just for some of these little detail plays that, the Broncos are going to focus on moving forward here. So I think, though, the thing for Justin is make sure you're fully healthy before you try to come back, And he was limited in practice, as was Jerry Jeudy. But you don't want these things to linger, especially for Justin. And, I think that you don't know what's going on, how healthy a player is, certainly through those first 2 games that Justin played in. You just wonder if he was 100% healthy, just because he had the problem during training camp, missed a lot of time there. I think Justin and everybody, is so eager to be like, I want to help this team.
Right.
I want to be out there with my guys. He talked about how difficult it was to watch and not be able to play. So you just want to make sure that he's healthy so that you're getting the Justin Simmons that we've all known and seen. You want to just make sure he's good to go there. And if he is able to play, that's you're getting a big time player.
Huge bonus.
There. Yeah,
for sure. Well, we also saw Josie Jewell. He did not participate in practice today as well. So, what are your thoughts on Drew Sanders if he has to, step up in his
Sean
place?
Payton was asked about Drew Sanders, and he talked also about it's hard to just be thrown in there at linebacker when you're a rookie, and. The speed of the game, I think, is just so much faster at the NFL level when you're playing inside linebacker. I think certain positions you can just say, okay, go get the quarterback here and just try to beat the guy in front of you and go try to make a play.
Right.
But when you're at inside linebacker, you got to detect things. You got to pick up on things that you've seen from film study, and you can get like a beat on a play, and that's when you're going to start making these game-changing type of plays out there. So that's like one thing that like Josie Jewell, if you talk to him, he'll be like, look, I'm not the fastest guy. I'm not the strongest guy out there, but he's pretty smart.
He's smart, yeah.
And so if you can detect something that's like happening and you're heading in that direction and you're 1 or 2 steps ahead of everybody else heading in that direction, then you're going to make a play. And I think that for Drew Sanders, that's something that's going to have to come with time, because he is fast. He's really big. And so if the mental side of the game can get to where he is physically, then you're going to see a special player out there. But
that's a great point.
Things happen really fast. Inside, it takes guys a couple of years to just really get there. And that is a hard position that I don't think enough people
It is.
talk about, just like it's really hard to sort of make those plays. And that's why when you see someone like Micah Parsons with the Cowboys, who's just like going crazy out there, you can appreciate a guy like that, because you're just like, wow, how is he doing this?
Well, even like Alex Singleton, he's talked so many times about how long it took him to finally make it in this league.
His process and his journey, going through, playing in Canada and stuff. It's that one, that just sort of tells you what it's like to play at this level. So, but if he can get there, you've seen things where you're like, this guy can be something special.
Definitely. Last one here for you, Phil. I know you talked earlier about Mike McGlinchey and kind of, his message in the locker room. I know you talked to some other guys in the locker room too. So kind of what's, I guess, the tone heading forward?
Yeah, I think that everybody has sort of said, look, we watched the tape this week, we learned from this, and now we've got to flip the page and just sort of move on here. And that's really all this team can do, is just say, okay, look, we got to move forward here, and we got a Chicago game that we got to sort of look at it as a must win. Certainly Justin Simmons said that, but that was really the tone in the locker room. I think guys have said, look, we're not about these first 3 weeks being, 0-3. Russell Wilson said, look, we thought that we should have won 2 of those games. That's something that he said. And I think that, moving forward here, that's got to be the mindset for this team, is winning the week in practice, translating it to the games on Sunday, and just really try to focus in on just having a change of mindset around here. And that takes time, but it's I don't think anybody at the start of the year was like, this team will start 0-3, and go through these growing pains here. It feels like, but here we are. All you can do is try and win one. Yeah. And I think that even Mike McGlinchey said a streak starts with 1.
That's true. That's a great mindset.
And, you just got to get that first one. And I think maybe you start building confidence, and who knows what can happen, not to look too far down the line, but Chicago, and then you got New York coming in. Yeah. New York is a team that's in a similar spot, the Jets.
The Jets, yeah.
And so, who knows what could happen here for this Broncos team, but it starts with 1. Yeah. I think I said this earlier this week. There's some saying that's like the journey to the highest peaks starts with one step. So I saw that on a motivational poster somewhere, Sid. But,
I love that film.
I think that could apply to this Broncos team. Yeah, philosophical. There you go. So just one step, one win. Who knows where they can lead to? So it feels like that's the mentality of this team right now.
Well, hopefully that one step starts this weekend in Chicago.
Yeah, big one in Chicago. Yeah. They can't eat too much pizza the night before.
No,
they can't do that. So, or too many hot beef sandwiches or any of that. Stay away.
I'm excited for the pizza.
Yeah, exactly,
I can eat the pizza.
Exactly.
Well, Phil, thanks for joining the show today.
Ed. Appreciate it.
And Broncos fans, don't forget, Paramount Plus is your streaming home for every local NFL and CBS game this season. Visit ParamountPlus.com to start your free trial and stream Russell Wilson and the team as they battle the league's best. Plus, get an all-access pass to 24/7 NFL content with CBS Sports HQ, Fantasy Football Today, NFL Slime Time, and more. And this year, Paramount Plus is your streaming destination for Super Bowl 58. Another action-packed Broncos season with NFL on CBS awaits, so stream Paramount Plus from any device all season long. Well, that'll do it for today's episode of Broncos Now. Broncos Country, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll meet you right back here on the Broncos Podcast Network and YouTube tomorrow for another episode.